Alright guys, the time has finally come to get some motor mounts built. So we got to start mocking up the powertrain in here, get things all set up. I'm super stoked. This is a big step for the project. There's lots to do today, so let's go ahead and jump in. One of the first things I'm going to do this morning is cut this bump stop out of the way. It's left over from the old suspension. It's not going to be needed, so I figured might as well cut it out of the way and make some more room. And then the other thing that needs to come out before we get started is the gas tank. It's kind of hard to see back there, but I'll have to drop that out of the way. There we go, nice and clean. It should come off now. Yeah, should I lower the forks? Yeah. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Heavy on my end.
Yeah, I can hold it here. Oh, you got gas coming out.
The gas tank's out now, so there's plenty of room for the transmission and transfer case back there. The next step is to build some plates for the insides of these frame rails. I don't want to weld the motor mounts right to the frame rail. I want to be able to unbolt everything that I build. So just a 3.5 inch by 8 inch plate that will bolt in using all these existing holes. I've actually got my buddy Duke here. He's over there working on it right now. So while he's doing that, I'm going to use some of these pipe stands here and I'm going to level out the frame. I want to be level side to side and front to back, just so that when we're setting the motor we get proper angles, and I don't want to be fighting the compression of the suspension either, so having a pipe stand under the frame rail is going to prevent any kind of suspension compression. We've just been fine-tuning the motor, getting it situated exactly where we want it, and I think that we're happy with how it's sitting right now. Plenty of clearance for exhaust manifolds, and the backs got decent clearance, so I think we're just going to double check everything, then we'll start working on some motor mounts. We're just working on connecting the dots really at this point. There's the engine side of the motor mount that's already bolted to it, and there's those scab plates that we bolted in earlier. I'm just going to be working with some flat strap, and hopefully we'll come up with something clean. Nice. Let's go see if they fit. I've just taken a couple measurements real quick, comparing the passenger side to the driver's side, and I've got the passenger side all tacked up, side plates are all on there, and I'm just working on the side plates on the driver's side. And I want to make these things as symmetrical as possible, and just in comparison with the measurements I just took, the driver's side, I want to change the angle of that top plate. But to do that, I'm gonna have to take this steering shaft out so I can get a grinder in here and cut the tacks. But this shouldn't take too long. Just a couple bolts on the rag joint there and one on the U-joint up here. It should come out pretty quick. So I'm gonna pop that out, cut those tacks, and I'll get that top plate adjusted the way I want it. I'm just gonna start down here with the rag joint. I'm hoping that I can just manipulate it out of the way without having to undo the U-joint. It looks pretty rusty, and I'm not sure it's going to come off that spline end of the steering column very well. Alright, that'll give me plenty of room. Get the grinder in there. I'll cut those tacks out. Both sides are tacked up now. This is the driver's side that we just finished up. And now I'm gonna unbolt both of them while the forklift's here. It'll hold the motor up. I'll get these welded out and then we'll install them again once they're finished. Alright, so I'm going to give this thing just a couple more tacks in a few different places so I don't pull or bend anything. Alright, it's running pretty good. Turned up the welder a little bit hotter. I think they turned out pretty good. Here's a little closer look at the finished welds. Got some spatter on there I'll buff off. But we'll let them cool down and get these things installed. Before I took these off the frame, I marked through the frame 2 more bolt holes. You can see them in silver pencil. I need to get those drilled before they go back on. And I started thinking, because I don't want to get those bushings out again, I'll probably drill these and then paint them and let them dry overnight. And I'll get these installed another day. Well, that worked better than I thought it would. This drill has a safety built in where if the base can't get a good enough grip, it won't allow the motor to turn. And being where the back end of the drill's hanging off the plate, I didn't think it would like it, but drilled no problem. Okay, I got them all cleaned up, wiped them down with some wax and grease remover. Now they're hung up, ready to spray. I'll just rattle can this, do a couple coats. If they dry relatively quick, I'll stay tonight and put them in, but might just let them dry overnight like I was saying and get them installed another day. Just gonna get these bushings installed now. I didn't do this the first time I put them in, and it made them really hard to get in and out. So I'm just going to lube them up with some grease. Hopefully make it easier to get them in and out if I ever have to do it again. Each bushing pair has a long and a short. Just need to make sure a long and a short go together and not two of the same. And then they get a steel sleeve down the middle. All right, they're ready to go. Excellent. Luckily, you can't really see me in this shot. And this was supposed to be like the smooth installation side, and it hasn't been so far. This bolt was having a hard time lining up. I think that just pulled it where it needed to go. Hopefully it'll just tap right in there now. Just like that. The engine is now completely supported by the new motor mounts, and I think they fit great, they look great. I'm really happy with how they turned out. There's still a jack under the transfer case holding up the back end, So that's what I'm going to move to next, is figuring out how I'm going to hang the transmission and transfer case. I've got a couple ideas, we just kind of got to work through them. But anyway, it's been very productive. I'm excited about the progress.